I'm a divorced single dad, father of 5 kids. It can be tough raising kids today. Believe me, there are high times and low times. It comes with the territory. But in all my years of parenting, I try to give some good advice. Advice to those parents who are out there willing to listen. My name is Bryce Van Ray, and welcome to my show. Today we're going to be talking about what school don't teach you. That's right. But first, I want to congratulate all the new parents out there. Boy, are you in for the time of your life. This is an exciting time and a great adventure, so cherish every moment. Now on with the show. So this is what school really doesn't teach you. And we're going to talk about that because there are things that school doesn't teach you because it's basically not on their curriculum. When I was growing up, school would teach you reading, writing, and arithmetic. They would have civics and other things too, but there are some things school just cannot teach you because they're not really made for that. Let me tell you what some of them are for all you parents out there. School doesn't teach you how to sell. That's right. If you want to sell something, you want to market something, they really don't teach you that. So you have to teach your child yourself how to sell something. Whether you, in the summertime, it's really hot, you tell your child, why don't we do a lemonade stand? Or why don't we sell something? I'm sure there's a lot of things you can sell, from candy to crafts, but you can teach your child how to sell because this is something that school really doesn't teach you. School also doesn't really teach you how to think. Sure, it can tell you how to come up with answers, how to reason, how to think to come to a conclusion. But to really think, think about life. Think about who you are. Think about what makes you happy. Think about what makes you tick. School doesn't really get into that kind of deep stuff, how to think. And thinking is good. Children need to know how to think. They need to be taught how to think. They need to be taught how to use their brain. You only have one brain. And you want to let your kid know that. You have one brain, so take care of it, eat right, exercise it. Exercise your brain and think. Some of the greatest inventions of the world have been made by thinkers. Someone who thought of the light bulb, and we use the light bulb every day. They had to think about how to put it together. They had to think about how could a light bulb work, but they did it. Somebody had to think about, how does a person fly? That's right. In an airplane. Orville and Wilbur Wright. They thought about this for a long time, and they used their brain. They were taught how to think. Or they taught themselves how to think. And thinking is a very good thing. You need to know how to think. We also need to know and teach your child how to negotiate. Negotiating in life is very good. If someone wants you to do something, you try to negotiate. I'll do this for you if you do this for me. Negotiate. And what if you're selling something? You negotiate. If you buy this, I'll give you this. Negotiate. Negotiating is a part of life. Things that school doesn't really teach you, unfortunately. But as parents, we can teach our children something like this. We're not totally helpless. We're their parents. We can teach our children stuff like this. Believe me. Mine taught me stuff like that. School doesn't teach you how to face failure. Unfortunately, you're going to have to tell your child everything isn't perfect. You will not always get A's. Sometimes you'll fail. And even if it's not in school, there are some paths in life you will fail on. But you have to learn how to face it. You have to learn how to overcome it. You have to learn how to deal with it. Nothing in life is perfect. Nothing is going to be absolutely perfect every single day, every hour, every minute, every second of your life. You need to tell your child you will face failure. I am so sorry, but it's a part of life. It's a part of reality. Facing failure is as important as your success. Facing that success. You need to learn how to face failures. You need to know how to deal with it. I'm telling you, it's important. When you raise your children, instill in them, tell them. One of the biggest things, I think, one of the biggest things out of many we're going to be talking about. School doesn't tell your child how to manage their time. But guess what? You can. You can tell your child, this is how you manage your time. When you manage your time, you must do this. You must make time for this. You must make time for that. You want to go play? Well, I want you to do some chores. So you're going to have to manage that time. How much time is it going to take you to do your chores, and how much time are you going to have left to play? School won't tell you that. School doesn't tell you how to manage your time like that. It just doesn't. And how to manage your money? That's another thing. School doesn't tell you how to manage your money. You have to learn that on your own. You have to teach your child that. Teach your child how to manage their money. Money is important. You don't want to spend it like water. I mean, and funny because when I was growing up, we used to say that. That person spending their money like water, what does that even mean? I guess nowadays with bottled water, we know what it means. Who would have known we'd be buying bottled water? I guess somebody knew how to sell it. That was our number one thing on here, how to sell, how to negotiate, how to think, how to invest your money. So the principles of success, that's something they'll have to learn. What are the principles of success? Well, everybody has their own version of what success is and what the principles are. I guess they'll have to figure that out on their own. Some people define success as money, materialistic. Other people define success as how much they can do for somebody else, how much of an impact they can have. Being a nurse, being a doctor, being in the military, being a fireman. There's a lot of jobs out there that are thankless. But guess what? It's very successful to them. Those are the principles of success. They judge their life and say, we are very successful because this is what we do. We help people. People love to help people. That's success. And you know why they're successful? Because they found their passion. That was their passion. You have to know your passion. You have to know yourself. You have to know how to think. Did school teach you that? I don't know. You want to make an impact on the world? You can do that too. School doesn't teach you how to make an impact. They can teach you rules, regulations. But to make an impact on the world, on somebody's life? In my town, there are a lot of homeless people. Sometimes they ask for money. I see people give them money. And I'm sure that has an impact on their life. On both people's lives. The one giving the money and the one receiving it. Because people need the help. They do. School doesn't teach you. Now we're talking, school when kids are little. We're not talking college level. We're not talking master degree level, doctorate level. We're talking when kids are little in elementary school, junior high, high school. They don't really tell you how to start a business. Because school is trying to prepare your child for the future. They're trying to prepare them for the next step in their education, or if they don't choose to do the education or they're not lucky enough, because a lot of it's luck too. They prepare you for life, for what you want to do. There are kids out there who don't want to go to school. There are some kids who do want to go to school, and it doesn't make anyone better than the other. It's what they want. They know what they want. Kids know what they want to do with their life. They have an idea, but they need to be guided. School doesn't teach a kid how to start a business, but they can learn. They can learn that after high school. Because like I said, we're talking about elementary, junior high, and high school. I probably should have said that in the very beginning of the show. But school also doesn't tell you the importance of travel. When you travel, you can see the world. There's so much you can see. So much out there. From people to culture to foods to architecture. There's so much. I was lucky enough to go to Israel. Tasted different food. Met people who lived over there. Learned a lot about their culture. Saw historical sites with my mom. It was amazing. Traveling is good. I took my kids on a cruise. Took them to Mexico, Puerto Rico. I try to show them the world. I was lucky though. They were lucky. They were very lucky. By no means am I rich, but you can also travel to the beach. And in the summertime, we live close enough to the beach, a couple hours away, where we can take them to the beach. I can take them. I can show them the beach and say, hey, this is the beach. This is the sand. These are the sand dunes. This is what people do on the beach. This is a day at the beach. This is what you can do at night. And travel. And it's not just about going to the beach, but it's about getting to the beach. You have to think, like I said, think about what you're going to bring. There's a lot of stuff you have to bring. If you're going to stay overnight or a few days, clothes, soap, towel, toothpaste, toothbrush, comb, shampoo, conditioner. And my girls have a lot of stuff. My sons do too. You got to know how to pack it. You have to think about it. You got to manage your time. And if I give them money, they have to handle it because they're not getting a lot of money from me. But if they want to pick up something there, I'll give them $20. We got a few days. Don't worry about the food. But if you waste your money on food, you're not going to get any trinkets, souvenirs. Teach your kids a lot of stuff like that. Tell them the importance of travels, to seeing the world, to being exposed to new things, different cultures, to being exposed to something they don't see all the time. But school also doesn't teach you how to communicate well. How to communicate, how to talk to people. One of the biggest things in life, I say, one of my biggest things, maybe it's the number one thing, you have to know how to communicate. You have to know how to talk to people. You have to know what to say, what not to say. You have to know how to communicate. That's just, if you don't communicate, it's done. Game over. You must communicate. Tell people how you feel. Listen and communicate. But communication in any relationship, whether it's someone you care about, whether it's friends, family, strangers, someone at the market, you have to know how to communicate. How much is this loaf of bread? Did you communicate? Well, how about you say, excuse me, sir. Excuse me, ma'am. Or just plain, excuse me. Excuse me. Can you help me? Sure. What do you need? I need to know how much this loaf of bread is. I don't see a scanner anywhere. Well, I can help you. Here's a scanner over here, or I can look it up for you. Otherwise, if you don't communicate like that, you don't get any bread. You get nothing. You have to know how to communicate. In life, you must communicate. You must also have emotional awareness. Be aware of other people's feelings. You don't walk up to somebody and say, you're an idiot. What? Who says stuff like that? Who in the world says stuff like that? You don't walk up to somebody and, at a job or something and just say, you know what? You're just not working out. Who talks like that? Seriously. You don't walk up to somebody and say you're worthless. Because you have to be aware of people's feelings. Empathy, I think that's what they call it. Have a heart. Have a soul. Have some empathy. And if you see somebody sad, you want to go up to them and try to talk to them. Communicate. Communicate. I guess communication is the biggest thing. So emotional awareness, emotional intelligence. I mean, you have to be able to communicate. You just can't look at something and say, oh, they're in pain, or oh, they're happy, or they're sad, or they're in a rush. Something. You have to be able to communicate. Something school doesn't teach you. You have to teach your child that. Find a way. You're a parent now, or you're going to be a parent, and you're here to get some advice. And believe me, this is some pretty good advice. The other thing is, your kids are going to get older. Then they need to know how to read a financial statement, a bank statement. You want your child to save money. You want your child to do something. Well, they need to know this stuff. They need to know how to read that financial bank statement. They need to know how to save. So, here we go. If they sell something, they need to know how to think. They need to know how to negotiate, face failures, manage time, invest money. Come on, that financial statement is really important here, don't you think? Because they're going to have to, handle money. And if they choose to start a business or if they travel, they're going to need to know how to deal with that financial statement. Balance a bank account, something like that. Anything. Especially if they travel. When you travel, you have to watch that money. You got to make sure you have enough money for A, B, and C. But like I said, school doesn't teach you how to talk, doesn't teach you how to listen. You have to know how to talk, communicate, listen. These are the important things a parent should be aware of. These are things that a school just does not teach a child. And it's unfortunate, but it's understandable. School is made for other reasons. To prepare your child for the basics of life. I mean, when they go to the store, they learn math. They know how much change they're going to get back, or about how much. They learn. You have to trust your child too. Because your child's going to know things. Your child's going to want to learn things. And maybe if you listen, your child could probably teach you something. Because children are amazing. They're full of surprises. So these are things that school doesn't teach you. And I hope you listened today. And I want to thank you for listening today. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe so you're notified when a new podcast is posted. Rate and review this podcast and share it with your family and friends. I hope that you're leaving with some great things that make you think. Remember this one last bit of advice. Tomorrow is never promised, so don't go to bed angry at your child or anyone you love. And before you go to bed tonight, hug your child and tell them, I will love you forever, Dad. See you next time here on Forever Dad.